Get started. This is a city council special meeting. Today is February 15, 2022. It's 5:33 PM. We are at the council chambers here at City Hall, 100 South Monroe Street, Eagle Pass, Maverick County, Texas. We will begin with the establishment of quorum. We do have a quorum today with Mayor Pro Tem Ramon, Councilwoman Cruz, and myself, Mayor Salinas. Absent today is Councilman Davis and Councilman Diaz. We do have a quorum. With that said, we'll move on to a moment of reverence. As always, we'll take a moment to honor all those that are serving in the military abroad that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you. Moving on to citizens' communications and recognitions.
There was none submitted, Mayor.
Thank you. And we'll start with the public hearings. Item number 1. First public hearing on the request submitted by the TerraTech Engineering and Construction Services on behalf of MVN LLC for the annexation of proposed Santa Maria subdivision unit, which consists of approximately 7.72 acres of land lying and situated in Maverick County. And we will open the public hearing at 5:34 PM. Mr. Madera, how are you?
Good, Mayor, thank you. So I have the slides that we've covered in the previous discussion when we brought up the petition for the annexation. Nothing has changed from that point. I can go over any of those items if you like, but I'm not sure if you want to see that information again.
Would you like to see it? I remember it, but if you all want to see it? Okay. Okay, with that said, this is a public hearing, so do we have anyone here or anyone in the audience that has any concerns about this item? Anyone that wishes to be heard on public hearing number 1? Okay, since there is nobody, we will go ahead and close the public hearing at 5:35 PM. We don't need any action on this, right? Okay. Moving on to item number 2. Public hearing on capital improvement projects, closing of public hearing and possible action regarding same. We will start this public hearing at 5:35 PM. Mr. Rodriguez, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Once again, we're kicking off our capital improvement update for this upcoming fiscal year. And like I've mentioned before, for me and for our department, this is the guiding tool for what's going to happen within the city for the next 5 years. And I mentioned this is where ideas become reality. And so the public hearing is the kickoff for this process because this gives council the opportunity to formally, provide your input on what projects you want to see in the next 5 years and also allow the public to provide that. Of course, you don't have to provide that today. You can provide that anytime this month because we need to include those in our list of projects that we will be evaluating over the next several months. And so just as a reminder, the capital improvement plan is a list of large projects the city aims to complete within the next 5 years. And these are projects that have an estimated cost of more than $100,000 and a useful life of more than 10 years. The city charter specifically puts in some requirements that the CIP has to be presented annually to the Planning and Zoning Commission for approval and their recommendations, and then we come before the City Council when we adopt the budget to incorporate those projects. Just a quick recap of the projects that we currently have that are already funded, at least in some form or fashion. So you see, we have just under $50 million in projects that are already funded, and this is a mix of bonds and grant funding and other funding that we've had available. So parks and recreation, swimming pool repairs, swimming pool fencing, sports complex concrete and fencing improvements, sports complex lighting, the splash pad for the sports complex, Fort Duncan fencing, press box and lighting, field bleachers, port in place and shade structures at the playgrounds, playground equipment specifically at Kelso Park, Burr Park skate modules, Blue Bonnet skate park lighting, basketball courts, volleyball courts, improvements at Hunter Park and Villa Romel, the new gymnasium for the Eagle Pass Youth Association, and the hike and bike trail phase 1. Bridge system, we have the office improvements at Bridge 2, the reconfiguration of Bridge 2, steel paint and maintenance, the toll software and hardware improvements, for city buildings, public works buildings, city hall renovations, golf course clubhouse, the International Center for Trade, roof and HVAC, sorry, there's a typo there, the reconstruction of Fire Station Number 2, and the Code Enforcement Office remodeling, for Main Street and Economic Development, the Riskin Building renovations, the Main Street and Fort Duncan improvements, the City Park hike and bike trail, and for storm drainage, the detention pond at the sports complex, the Rio Grande Street drainage repairs, Debona Drive drainage improvements, the detention pond improvements at the Eagle Pass High School, new Main Street detention pond, channel widening on Alexander Drive, Arrow Point Boulevard drainage easement improvements, 57 Heights drainage improvements, Bibb and Misty Window storm drainage improvements, and Rancho Escondido drainage improvements. So you see there's an extensive list, wide variety, just about almost $50 million that we're moving forward, things that are in different phases, but that are currently funded. Now, talking about the unfunded project list that the council approved just this last year, we have the remodeling of Fire Station 3, the fire training tower, the construction Fire Station number 4, the completion of Patsy Wynn Boulevard, remodeling of DPS building, the rec center and auditorium, golf course clubhouse renovations, digital signage of the bridge system, renovations of the toll booths, and airport improvements. So those are the projects that we brought several items to City Council for grant funding or other funding sources to try to accomplish these. And we're very confident that we're going to be able to get all these projects taken care of. But every year we've got to come back and say, okay, now what else do we need to add? Do we need to remove? What are the new priorities? So again, anytime today or for the rest of the month, feel free to contact us, administration, with any of those projects so that we can make sure that the departments start doing the research necessary to see how we can bring those things to fruition. But this time, I guess, for the public hearing portion, if anybody in the public would like to provide.
Yeah, well, I want to start off by saying those are some amazing projects for the city of Eagle Pass. You have a little bit of recreation, improving our infrastructure, economic development. So it's just exciting to see what's coming for Eagle Pass, especially since those projects that you just mentioned, they're already funded.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Yes, no, and I think it's a big achievement, that the city council administration, the city as a whole has been able to put together. CIP has been instrumental in getting us organized and getting us grant funding especially. Just in the past several months, we've seen a lot of grant funding opportunities that all want shovel-ready projects. They want things that have already been thought out, you already know the location, ideally you already have the land. And so this allows us to already have all of that information. And we've been successful with a lot of grant funding, and we're hoping we're about to get some more good news throughout this process.
So we'll open it up to the public. If anybody has any questions, any concerns, input regarding this public hearing.
Just
then
for
council.
clarification, the first set, they're all funded. The second portion of it, it's what's in
This
the
is-
plans, in the
Yes,
works.
so this is funded, this is already in the works, we're trying to figure out funding for the next
How to
5
fund
years.
it. Okay.
I know 2 of the items that have been discussed, I know Councilwoman Cruz had brought up the bike lanes, so that's already in the plans to be added to this list, and Councilman Diaz had brought up the domestic violence shelter, so those are also already in the plans.
And the second portion of it,
They will be added to the
to
second
the
portion.
second portion.
Excellent. All right.
But anything else, like I said, just let us know, and
Okay.
we'll take it under consideration.
And we still have time to add and,
Yes, so the process doesn't end until September when the city council adopts
Okay.
the budget formally, so we still have time, but we want to start the ball rolling to get that update
And on
complete.
this, you want us to do the list of the importance, right, of the order? of
Yes,
things? Okay.
yes, that really helps because unfortunately, as a government, our resources will always be limited. We always want to accomplish more than what our resources allow. So knowing what your individual priorities are, that really helps us.
That helps.
can you provide those lists to council like in an email?
Yes,
Both the
definitely.
ones that are already funded and these
And
new
the
ones?
that we're
Yeah,
looking at.
definitely.
That way we can go over them and send you an email to see what we want.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Mhm.
Any other questions? All right. So at this time, we will close the public hearing at 5:42 PM. Do we need to take action on this?
No,
No.
No, right? Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jesse. Item number 3, ordinances. Consideration and possible approval of an ordinance amending section 5-32 Article 3, Chapter 5, alcoholic beverages of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Eagle Pass, Texas, to include Carthage Place, Unit 14, Block 33, Lot 6, 1989 South Veterans Boulevard, within the areas in which the sale of alcoholic beverages and consumption on the premises is permitted. Finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, providing a severability clause and establishing an effective date.
Yes, Mayor and Council, as you all might recall, this was a petition that was submitted and approved by you all on February the 1st.
Yes.
So we're just going through the procedure, so this would actually be the first ordinance reading for this one.
Okay, yes, I do recall. So
So moved.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon, a second by Councilwoman Cruz. Discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Item 4, second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 8 Buildings, Article 2, Sections 8-15 and 8-16A, 9, 10, and 13D, and 8-61, Chapter 12 Electrical Code, Article 6, Section 12-147, Chapter 13 Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 3, Section 13-32, Chapter 15 Gas and gas fittings, Article 2, Sections 15-26, 15-27, and Chapter 21, Plumbing, Article 6, Section 21-1 and 21-2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Eagle Pass, Texas, to include the current editions of the building safety codes, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date. And this is
Mayor.
just a second reading.
Second reading,
Yes.
again, no changes from the first reading, but I'm available if you do have questions.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Do you all?
I don't know.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
A motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon, second by Councilwoman Cruz. Discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to executive session. Executive session pursuant to sections 551-071 and 551-072 of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney and discussion on real estate matters regarding acquisition for downtown parking garage and possible action in open session. We will go into executive session at 5:45 PM.